Hello, and welcome to Subnautica. I am your host, White One. I am the first, to my knowledge, albino, legally blind, game-playing YouTuber, and you get to ride along with me as I attempt to survive in the deep with the blind in Subnautica. Yesterday was the 1.0 release where it finally came out of early access. In today's episode, I am going to be going through pretty quickly to get my normal setup as fast as I can for the basic tools and a few of the advanced tools and quite possibly a small base. So let's get into it. Let's put this fire out, because you know fire bad, tree pretty. Of course, technology never wants to work when you need it. I'm gonna have to run like a cleaner or something on this thing because it's kind of slow.
Head trauma. This is considered an optimal outcome. This PDA has now rebooted in emergency mode with one directive.
So we've got our standard stuff that we start out with. We're not going to use any of this unless we absolutely have to. I usually don't need to rely on it. First things first, let's get out of here and go collect ourselves the stuff we need to make a few of the really basic items that we're going to have to start out with. So as you can see, life pod, safe shallows. I like to go for, in the very beginning, one of the first things I shoot for is I go to get what I need to make swim fins and a survival knife. Then I start going for a little bit more of the technical equipment, because that's when I really start looking for my fragments to get a sea glide. And sea glide is usually the first really technical thing that I try to get made, because the sea glide helps you move through the water faster, obviously. Faster means quicker resources means quicker to building things. I also do something a little different that I notice some other people don't do, and that is I try my best early on to repair the life pod, because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't use a life pod, you know, I don't need the repair because I build a base. But here's the thing: the life pod's got a functioning radio, functioning fabricator, which you can use the fabricator without repairing it, but it lets the radio work once it's been repaired. It lets your med kit work once it's been repaired. Plus, it kind of has more of that feel of, okay, I'm accomplishing something here because I got it repaired. So now that we've collected what we need to make some swim fins, and just looking for some wreckage right now. Normally there's wreckage everywhere when I want wreckage in order to be able to make things like, for instance, a oxygen tank, you know, so that every 5 seconds I don't run out of air. There's never any around. We'll take that. Also, I've noticed that one of the things, and I haven't got to use it yet, and I'm looking forward to using it in this playthrough now that we have the 1.0 out. The new holographic find your way out of places system seems very interesting. The dive reel before, I liked it, but I don't think that it functioned the way that it should have functioned. And in my honest opinion, it should have been like a tether system, but the tether would have, you kick it on and it automatically reels you back at a high velocity, possibly maybe causing you some damage. You know, that could have been something that could have been worked out. Like that would have been one of those things that I think would have made sense. But I'm looking forward to trying out the holographic system to see how that is. Uh, it it definitely, I mean, it could be an improvement. It really could. Let's see what we're looking at here. We're really close on the materials. There we go. Personal equipment. So we're going to go ahead and make ourselves a standard O2 tank. Going to go ahead and make ourselves a standard set of fins. Breathe underwater longer, get around faster. We don't need a fire extinguisher. I do find these useful. I know a lot of people are like, the floating air pump and the pipes, they're a pain in the butt. But you know what? When you get to a certain point, they are insanely helpful. Like I've really gotten some good mileage, and the thing is you only need one. You take one, you just make yourself a ton of pipes. That's all there is to it. Like you take one and you make yourself a ton of pipes. So the next thing that I always try to shoot for out of this is I try to get the scanner and the repair tool. Usually I try to get those at try to get the stuff for those at the same time. So obviously for this we're going to need a battery and titanium, silicone rubber, and cave sulfur. The cave sulfur is going to be easy. The battery, all we need is 2 acid mushrooms and some copper ore. So let's check it out. Make sure we got all of our stuff together. We're going to dump off the oil, which we don't need at the moment. And we're going to also dump off some of this silicone rubber for the moment. And then we are going to go looking for some acid mushrooms, some cave sulfur, and a bit of copper. So let's take a look here. There ought to be a crash fish somewhere around here anytime now, because you know that's how it works with crash fish. When you want them, they're never around. But when you don't want them, they're everywhere. Just like those guys. Those guys, like, see, look at this dude. What is his deal? He's trying to ruin my broadcast here because he's trying to think he's being funny. Hey, watch me, I'm going to run around and throw some poison in the water for the new guy on the planet. Let's check it out. We're going to go ahead and grab some extra titanium while we're here. That's really tempting, but we don't need that at the moment. Eggs, however, I will say, let's break some limestone. More titanium. Let's go grab some air real quick. Then the next thing I usually shoot for after I grab those is I usually shoot for the air tank, the extended air tank, because they are very helpful. Let's see. Okay, we got some copper. Looking for a crash fish. Any other time, they are everywhere. I'll always take deposits. They're always helpful. I have noticed, however, in this iteration, it does seem that they have made lead in the safe shallows much. Lead is now like silver. It's much tougher to lay your hands on. Now, right now, we're not needing any lead. Oh, I hear you. I hear you. See, don't start nothing. There won't be nothing. Oh, really? Don't start nothing. There won't be nothing. Thank you. Thank you. Can always use the cave sulfur. I'll take the extra. I only needed 1, but I'll take 2. Let's see what else we're looking at here real quick. Anything else here worth grabbing? Got the cave mushrooms, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So, let's head back. Let's grab us a peeper here. And let's go ahead and grab ourselves
New creature discovered.
bladderfish.
Alien life forms may have unexpected applications. Utilizing alien
Of course,
resources
alien
is a
life forms would have unexpected applications. You know, like,
oxygen.
you know, you gotta eat, you gotta have water. Planet full of water. Can't drink the water though. Makes perfect sense. I mean, in a way it does. I totally get it. Let's grab another. Come here, little peeper. Thank you. Alright. So, let's jump in here. So, let's make ourselves. First off, we need a battery. There we be. Got a battery. Let's go ahead and convert that titanium. Let's convert that glass. Let's get ourselves some water real quick. I know I've got some, but I usually myself the stuff that I start out with, I try to wait until I actually like maybe have like a desperate need to get to use those, because like they're like my last, like, you know, gotta have something to eat. I haven't been running around collecting. I used to not put such emphasis on farming at the beginning, but I have learned that if you set yourself up right and you do it right, you can farm very easily and get your food situation set out and in hand, so that you don't got to worry about it very early on. Basically, just by making sure that you high capacity O2 tank. I need another glass, so we're gonna go grab that. Let's go ahead and get this thing repaired. I like to get the farming kind of out of the way now, which is one of the reasons why I like to get a hold of the Sea Glide as soon as possible. Yeah, see, that's real helpful. We'll go ahead and repair that. I don't ever fool with this communication thing. Never. Until I have myself a rudimentary and functioning base going. Because, like, yeah, it's great and all. Like, it really is. And yeah, it leads you to stuff. But I find that until I'm, like, got myself set up, really, till I got myself set up with some good farming. Oh, see, there's always got to be one. Till I've got myself set up with some good farming and really get. We're going to go ahead and grab, because we're going to need just a couple of those here in a minute. Until, like, if you get yourself some good farming, yeah, we'll take it. Thank you. Till you get some good farming set up, and you've got it set so that your food is basically, I'm not going to say you don't got to worry about it, but you've kind of like basically got your food supply set. And to be honest, if you do it right, you don't have to worry about it. Like, it's just go back, making sure that you're replenishing your seed population when you're planting is basically the big thing. Like, you get that taken care of, and you're. Let's go ahead. We're gonna grab. Thank you. You get that taken care of. Thank you. Thank you, Gary Fish. You get that taken care of, and as long as you're following your planting stuff, making sure that your seeds are good, that you're getting seeds put out in the proper proportions, you can keep yourself alive for indefinitely, and it only really takes that one trip to the island to make that happen. And let's see, what's the next? The habitat builder is something I will be shooting for here very shortly. I do, however, want the high capacity O2 tank, because it's gonna make Standard. Oh, gotta equip it. Gotta take it off of my equipment list. There we go. High capacity O2 tank. And that thing is so great because it takes your oxygen from 45 to, what is it? It's 135. And that is, like, that's an amazing, like, it almost, like, I'm not going to say indefinitely. You can't survive under the water indefinitely. I mean, let's even with the rebreather, that's not possible. But man, it helps. Like, it helps a lot. So let's chuck in another battery here because we know we're going to need it. We're going to dump a few things off. Keep the med kit on us. We're going to go ahead and eat some food. We're going to drop off one of the waters. We're gonna go ahead and keep all this on us. Got some lead. We're gonna drop that lead off. We're not gonna need it just yet. Got some titanium. We're not gonna need that gold just yet. And then we're gonna go looking for sea glide fragments. Now, they should be relatively close. Usually there's a couple of smaller wrecks that are scattered around here. And usually with those wrecks, you're going to find scannable stuff. Like, look, see, right here. These things, by the way, don't sleep on the gravity balls. Do not sleep on them. Gravity balls are excellent. I drop a couple of those out every time over around the kelp forest area. Every time. And they just bring me in so much good stuff that it is like it is kind of a pain that they do. Let's go ahead and get him scanned in here. That they do go through energy, not necessarily super quick, but they do go through batteries. I think the trade-off is worth it, though. I really do. Like, see, why you gotta run? Really? Why you gotta run? Thank you. Let's see what we can find here. There's usually... Oh, of course. You know, when I want them to be around, there are no sea glide pieces. Normally, there are tons of them. Thank you. I'll take that. Take some metal salvage.
New creature discovered.
I will say that of survival games, this is definitely one of my favorites. Subnautica, I had a friend who told me about it, and I was kind of like, yeah, I've seen it on Steam, you know, and I've been playing it now for a good while. You don't know how many games I've started, gotten to a certain point, and been like, okay, well, really can't go any further, so get kind of bored. And my thing is I really enjoy the building prospect of it. Really enjoy the building prospect. I have built some very unique and incredible bases, which I'm sure everybody that's played Subnautica has, because it's one of those things that I really think is a big draw of the game. Is you're like, wow, you see like a weird maybe rock formation or something like that, or you're like, oh, this would be a great place to throw down just a checking it out base, you know, like this is a place to top off some battery power, maybe have like all of my little, like, I do these triple layer bases. Basically they're just little outpost bases, but they're usually powered by like bioreactors, or if there's something close enough, I do like the thermal reactors, but they all have like a small farm in them, so that I can stop off, replenish some food, you know, like they're just stop off points, maybe hang out for a little bit if there's something I got to do, but you know, they're very useful. They're dead useful. And this is absolutely amazing that I cannot locate a single sea glide fragment. And normally there's like 2 or 3 boxes that are real close to where you start out at, and finding the sea glide is like usually super easy and the first thing that you find. But in this case, because I'm recording, you know, for my YouTube channel, starting a new series back, you know, like the exploding crazy fish, it doesn't want to cooperate. Like, normally they are everywhere. You're like, wow, found another sea glide fragment. Wow, found another sea glide fragment. Wow, look, there's another sea glide fragment. Like, really? Like, how many sea glide fragments are there scattered about the ocean floor? It's like counting sheep when you're trying to sleep. I will say that visually, this game has got to be one of my favorites. A good friend of mine really got me hooked on sandbox type games, but especially survival sandbox. He got me hooked on Ark Survival Evolved. At first, I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm gonna like that, you know. And then I started playing it, and I was like, oh, where have these kind of games been all my life? Like, really? Unfortunately, Ark and I had a love-hate relationship. I loved the game. I hated the Ark physics. And if you've ever played Ark Survival Evolved, you know what I mean when I say Ark physics. Because there are things in Ark that you just make absolutely no sense. And you're like, how does that work? How did they come up with this mess? My final straw with Ark was really waiting on them to fix a lot of stuff. It really was. There was a lot of things that people had for a long time and saying, hey, you know, this is something that really needs to be looked at. This is something that really needs to be fixed. Can you guys do something about this? Can you look into it? And they proclaimed, oh, we're going to have this huge update. We're going to put all this stuff and blah, 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 blah. And everybody, we're all waiting for it. And then a friend of mine says to me, the same guy who got me hooked on the game, who was also at that point becoming very disenfranchised with the game, like a lot of us. And he was like, oh, so there's this rumor that we are getting a flushable toilet that gives you experience. I said, you gotta be kidding me, right? Like that's gotta be a joke. Like that, dude, you can't tell me. And then it turns out that it was the truth. And we got all these, like they kept saying, oh, we're gonna introduce these new dinosaurs, and we're gonna, listen. Fix the problems that are wrong with your game before you go introducing new content that probably isn't going to work correctly because you can't fix the content that you have, and it's all got to work together. So I gave up on Ark, which is a shame because I still, every now and again, I call it the Ark itch. I still have the Ark itch to play, but I can't. I'm too disenfranchised with it, too unhappy with the way that they have done things, the way they've treated the people that paid money into the game. Subnautica, like I'm gonna say, I really, from the first time I started playing it, from the first moment, I really was like, wow, I like this. I'm one of those people that I was like, hey man, this would be really good as multiplayer. And I do feel that it would be good as a multiplayer game, but I also totally understand the devs' wishes of, we like the lonely feel of it, which I totally agree with that completely and totally. I love the lonely feel. I love I gotta do this on my own. However, the guys that are working on the multiplayer mod, I love that idea. But if I ever had the chance to offer them some suggestions, I would I would flat out tell them, like, hey, I think that maybe what you guys should shoot for here is I think what you guys should shoot for here is something like Astroneer has, where you're looking at 4 people and that's your survival team. It drops 2 pods. Each pod holds up to 2 people because there's 2 seats in a pod, and you go from there. Like I could see that. That could be very easily modded into what is the final sequence of the game, which unfortunately I have no knowledge of because I have never actually made it to the final sequence because I've never actually tried. I've always kind of slacked off and been checking out other stuff. Let's go ahead and scan some creepvine while we're at it. And wanting to build, I am all about building in this game. I absolutely love building in this game. The fact that you can scan things and or that you can take them apart and you get back exactly what you put into them, like I like that, because then it doesn't put you on that whole treadmill of, hey, so yeah, you built this and you made a mistake, but now guess what? You're only going to get like 50% or 75, or in some games it's not even that much. Some games you get like a third of what you put into something. You get it back, and like that is it. And this is incredibly irritating. So let's go dump a few things off, and then we are going to take a quick trip over by the Aurora. But first, we are going to make ourselves, we're going to get some titanium. Some more titanium. We're going to make ourselves some fiber mesh. We're going to, yeah, we're not worried about that. We're going to cook ourselves some food. We're going to grab ourselves some water here in just a second. Pathfinder tool. That's the new thing that I'm really looking forward to using. Like I really wanna check that out. The beacons are there's a lot of people that are like, oh, well, the beacon, blah blah. No, the beacon is straight useful. I have, once I get a game going, I have got so many beacons so that I can find my way back to this, that, and the other, especially some places that it's kind of like some places that it's just like, wow, really? How did I ever find my way here? Like if you've played this game, you know what I'm saying. Like sometimes you're just like, wow, how did I find this place? And then you start to get kind of the concern of like, make sure I can get back out of here. Alright, so we are going to go check out over near the Aurora to see if I can find the other piece that I need for a sea glide fragment, because obviously the game wants to make me look bad and not find my second sea glide fragment so that I can go and then continue to get it built. Oh, those are my favorite. I love those guys. They're just so great. Yeah, yeah. I'll just swim backwards and scan you, and then you run away, which I will never understand. Let's scan. Huh, wouldn't it be ironic if I got Seamoth before I got Scanner Room Fragment? I'll take that. If I got a Seamoth before I got a Sea Glide, like that would be, I find, what I would say is totally ironic and laser cutter. I'll take that. That's one of the biggest things about this game that people, I think sometimes that people don't, when they first start, they're not like taken into like, hey, I need to scan anything and everything that I run across in terms of fragments, because like, you know, I mean, to be honest, that's how you get what you're shooting for in this game. When you want the alien containment centers, when you want then it's like, okay, well, I found that already. I don't got to go looking for it.
Short-range scans suggest this biome supports extensive biodiversity and connects to a number of small cave networks.
And let me tell you, swimming at night in this game, love it. Absolutely love it. Oh, we're getting into a territory that I do not like, because this is a place where the neighbors tend to get a little upset when you start hanging around. And if you've played this game, there we go, Sea Glide Fragment, yeah. But while we're here, let's go ahead and see what else we can find real quick. Oh, really? Haha, you overshot me, sucker! See, I keep telling y'all, don't start nothing, won't be nothing. Now, see, I get to take your stuff anyway. You should, like, your best bet is you should have just vacated the premises, let me have what I wanted, and then, you know, everybody just go on about their business. What are we looking at here? This is new. I do not remember there being a locker over here. That's okay. Alright, so back we go. Let's put this away because you always swim faster. Yeah. Also, usually if I have opportunity, I will snag up like the bladderfish a lot. I mean, I have depopulated this entire area on numerous occasions and been like, then when I was like running out of water, I'm like, oh my god, I cannot find a bladderfish. I am so screwed. Like, which is why I kind of am like, one of the places that I go to on I try to go to on an early basis is I try to go to the place where I know that I can find the desalinization station. And I know a lot of people that hate on the desalinization station. They're like, it uses so much power and blah blah blah. But listen, it gives you water. You don't have to keep looking for bladderfish. Like, yeah, come on. It's worth what it takes to make it. You got to go to that place where it is anyway. I mean, we don't got to, but I mean, come on, let's face it. The game is about exploration. You're probably gonna go there anyway because you're gonna be like, oh, wait, what's that down there? Plus, I do believe that there is something in the game that directs you to head to that. So let's get up here. Let's get our sea glide made, get some water. Just put that away so we can swim faster. I do believe that I am very close to having everything that I need to have a sea glide from this point forward. Let's have some water. Thank you. Go ahead and drink down some water. Let's see. Cook us up some food. So I got a little bit extra from a boomerang fish for when I need it. Sea glide. I need lubricant and copper wire, and I do believe that I have everything that I need for that. There's the lubricant. Gold. Nope. Gotta go grab myself some copper wire. Alright, so let's go looking for some copper wire. Need some copper real quick. You know, one of my favorite ways to go look quickly and easily, besides diving down through cave systems, which that's the thing. Like, yes, you're gonna find the limestone and stuff down in these caves, and you're also gonna run into you know, exploding fish, and depending upon where you are in some cave systems, you're gonna run into some other stuff that you may not be real happy that you're gonna run into because you're looking for it. So usually what I like to do is I like to hit, in the beginning of the game, I like to hit these outer areas along these outside edges of these walls, basically, because even for me, the legally blind guy, they are easy to spot and easy to pick out. Those limestone formations, they stand out. Now, yes, I do miss them occasionally, which is cool, because then that means I don't like completely and totally de-limestone an area, because then I can come back to it and I find myself like, oh yeah, look, I got some nuggets here. Plus, by the time I get a scanner room set up in this area, because it's another thing. I'm really happy that they fixed the scanner room. The scanner room is insanely helpful in finding things, no matter what they say. I'm glad that they fixed the, oh, you found something. Oh, nope, time to go. Time to go. You and I are not friends. Don't start nothing, won't be nothing. So let's go grab some water, head back to the life pod, because we have our copper ore. We just got to go make some copper wire real quick, and we're gonna have what we need to make having a sea glide. And then usually the moment that I have myself a sea glide, I dump off everything I can in my inventory, and if I have to, I dump stuff on the floor in here, and I head to, let's see, haha, I head to the floating island and get myself some food to bring, some seeds and things to bring back. Occasionally, I will build one sea glide. Occasionally, I will build myself one of the floating. And I was looking right at it. Sometimes will build myself one of these, just for the simple fact of that I can throw it outside, I can put a couple of things in it, and it gives me some extra storage space, and at worst later on I just pick it up and throw it into a locker somewhere. So we're going to go ahead and build ourselves one of these. We're going to take it out, we're going to drop it off, we're going to throw some things in it. Now, for my trip to the island, because once I get there, I'll be able to eat. I'll have plenty of food. On the island. But the most important thing is I need space. So let's drop off. We're going to throw titanium. Don't need that lubricant. We're going to take the titanium. I'm going to go ahead and eat that. We're going to take him with us because he stays good, and like, you know, there's no point not to. Actually, we might dump him off in a floating container. So let's go ahead. We're going to deploy our floating container. There we go. We're going to dump off some titanium into it because we're not going to need any titanium for this trip. We're going to go ahead and dump this fish off. We're going to take both med packs just in case. And then for right now, this is where we're going to end the first episode. As you can see, let's jump up here for a quick sec. I have my life pod repaired. I have my radio repaired. I'm getting full power regeneration and recharge on the life pod. My med kit is making itself. I've got a decent supply of things. And as far as it goes for the basic starting out, I now have a high capacity tank, fins. I have a couple of spare first aid kits, which I didn't have to make. I have a spare fire extinguisher that has charge left on it. Rebreather, that'll probably be, that's usually after I've made it to the island, because that's for when I start to really go exploring. I don't make that a priority until after I hit the island. Flashlight, it's situational. I find that I don't necessarily need it that often. The Pathfinder tool, I will be checking that out once we go exploring. The air bladder, I never really fool with that. I've played with it one time. Flares, I use the ones they give me sometimes. Habitat builder will be in our next. I'll get the stuff, make the habitat builder, then go ahead and throw ourselves up a small space. Then we head to the island. So I thank you for joining me, and I hope that I was able to help you get a quick start in Subnautica. Normally my start is much faster. By this time that has passed, I usually have gotten myself the habitat builder. I usually have a 2 or 3 platforms down. I head to the island, do all my scanning for all my stuff out there, get all of my plant samples, come back, throw myself up a quick 3-story efficient base, power, and a lot of the things, like I don't worry about making another fabricator right away because I've got a functioning one here. The radio, I don't worry about. I have a functioning one here. I do usually try to make another health pack sometimes, just depends on how things are going. But I always make sure that I get the farm going, and that it's a place that's working as a jumping off point for me. And as I said, as you guys can see, I've got a sea glide. I've got the 3 honestly basic tools that you really need. I don't make an extra battery. I know a lot of people say take an extra battery with you when you go out on trips. I know where the floating island is. And at worst, I'll just pull the battery out of something else temporarily if I need it for the trip back. If I'm close enough to home and it runs out, I'll just swim it. It's no big deal. The biggest concern is when I hit the open water and start getting close to it, because occasionally you can run into some unfriendly neighbors. So I would like to thank you for joining me. I hope you tune in for the next episode. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them. I would love to hear from anybody. I'd like to hear about Subnautica experiences, about things you do, things you don't like about the game. Especially, I'm very interested in what people would like to see in terms of mods. We'll cover that a little bit in the next time. But until then, don't forget, you will run out of air, you will run out of water, and you will run out of food. You're already infected. You gotta survive. Grab those bladderfish. Go get your food early on and get started quickly like I did, and you can get out to the floating island. And remember, the planet might be covered in water, but you can't drink it. Have a good one. See you next time.